Well, hello, and thanks for watching. What I'm going to be doing is looking at a old canal and lock system in Hamden, Connecticut, specifically Mont Carmel. What you're looking at right now is an aerial map, 1934 aerial map, which I've modified a bit to describe the lock system, and we're going to be checking out all of the spaces in here, starting with the first, which is the Woodruff Locks Pond. This is how it looked in 1934. It had a fully functional dam and lock to control the water. This water went to a factory that was a wood factory at the time. It went down through this water canal up a couple hundred yards, crossed a road where the culvert is, had a retention pond, of course, which now about 70 years later is gone completely. It went under the factory. There was a fire in 1968 that destroyed most of the factory, but some of it still remains, and actually there are some businesses in it right now. And it went under the factory, under the road, which is a road called Broadway, to another canal all the way down, and then deposited in Mill River. So we're going to be checking out all this, and we're going to go number by number, and I hope you enjoy the videos. Here's the widest part of the pond. Yeah, it's really difficult to see. It's probably about, I don't know, maybe 30 yards across or so. And to my left, of course, there's this old sort of trail here. When I was a kid in Scouts, we came down here. Oh, hello, birds. Looks like it hasn't been used in a long time. And eventually goes down to the north here and connects up with Mill River. So the Mill River is really the supply to this pond. And then it does drift back through south. It connects again with Mill River. So the path has become pretty much impassable. I don't want to bushwhack and knock down any of the native plants and things that are here. The trail used to go down to Mill River, but as you can see, it's completely overgrown now. And this pond actually was quite deep at one time, probably a good, I'd have to say 5 or 6 feet. Back when I was a kid in the 70s, we used to fish here. And there's really not much left. And this is spring, so you'd think there'd be some extra water here from the winter, but you could probably cross it, but you might sink in the mud. But I'm not going to do that. Don't want to get my boots dirty or wet. And I don't want to disturb anything that's growing in there, since this is the spring. Any tadpoles, things like that. So a lot of bird activity, but as you can see and hear them, I'm going to head back through the trail here. Well, I'm down in what's left of the bottom of the dam here, and there are large sections of concrete and metal. There's some rebar, and can't tell if the sections were multi-layered or if it was one solid piece that went across, but there's some piping here. It looks like it was made to really last, but I mean, just 100 years of neglect, or probably 60, 70 years of neglect, just really taking its toll, and nature is really taking over here. A lot of vines. It's kind of difficult to walk through. So, well, they definitely try to make it last. You can see there's rebar in here, which is, right there. Looks like it was constructed very well. Just 50 to 60 years of damage. So this is the lock of Locke's Pond, or it was called Woodruff Pond. This served a factory, which I'll show you later, way down over there. And this fed water to the factory and used it in production of wood or metal, whatever it was back. We're talking, oh boy, I think it's in the 20s and 30s, 1920s and 30s. But as you can see, there's not much left of the lock. It's falling over. It's been like this for about 50 years. And the the dam, or what was left of it, that blocked the water coming down from Mill River is almost unrecognizable. It's been really severely damaged due to age. So I'm inside the canal. As you can see, the canal used to go down there, and this is where the water was stopped. Using the canal, I'm sure that someone worked here, which this isn't a bad office. It's you're outside, and what's left of the panels, as you can see, that stopped the water. There are only a couple left, but it's really not much left to it. So the canal up there in the distance, or the lock I should say, fed a canal system that went right along this road, which you can sort of see the gully there, and went down this road, which is probably a couple hundred yards, and fed the factory. Back in the 70s it was Garrity Lumber, but there was a fire in the mid-60s, 1965 I think, I have to double check. And so previous to that, I believe that the factory and this canal system was in use. And there's some very interesting things down here. If you're a Hamden native, you might know this. If not, it's really cool as to, why things happen or why things are the way they are around here. And I'll show you those in just a sec. So here's where it gets kind of interesting. The canal, which is pretty much straight ahead right there, has been covered over by the road. And actually there's Mill River right there. And it followed along. The canal would have been right underneath this pavement where I'm walking right now. And it followed along the river. And then went underneath Hive Street, which is right over here. And if you ever travel around here, you always wonder, like that car just did, why am I going over this little bump in the road, which is right here? And this is part of the canal system, which is now totally, like I say, unrecognizable. And it went down here. So I walked down. And went underneath the road. So here's our bridge. It goes across and ends up behind this fence in an old, I think it was some sort of retention pond back in the day. But the water exited out the other side here. Another car going over the road. And that's why this little bump here is here. And it goes, well, the canal used to go all the way down here and then hook up with the factory there. So here we are on Broadway. Factories over here. Watch out for cars. And the canal goes underneath this road and ends up coming out over there. And let me see if I can get across the road here quickly. Watch out for cars. And so it ended up coming out here. And going all the way down. Let those cars get out of the way. All the way down to Mill River. Well, maybe one of these days I'll do it, but not today. That, if you can see underneath there, that goes all the way underneath the building and ends up connecting back to the canal, which goes to the lock. Even as a kid, I wouldn't go in there. This water it's only a few inches deep, but the muck is probably about 2 feet deep. But yeah, looks like it might be a little sketchy in there. Not sure how far it goes, but I do know that it goes underneath the road because in the winter I've actually spun out here because there's air underneath Broadway. So this does still go underneath the road, but I'm not sure how far it goes into the old factory. The old factory used to be straight ahead, but burned in the mid-60s fire. That's completely gone. So the canal that we saw, of course, actually this is, wow, what 50 years of overgrowth will do. We used to actually skate on here when we were kids. This used to freeze over. This is where that factory water from the canal exited and went into Mill River over here. Route 40 connector up there. And when we were kids, we used to see this sort of foam. Well, I guess it was foam. I guess it was from the pulp from the factory. It used to drift down this little canal here. And then actually go into Mill River. Yeah, quite bizarre. And that is a short history of the canal system, the lock system from Woodruff's Pond here to Mill River in Hamden. Thank you for watching.